Hey brothers and sisters, this is Toby with Garage Prospecting, and we are going to process a material from mining magnets. It's called Idaho Dredge cons, and as you know, this mining magnets is owned by Colter who's the gentleman that sold me the cleanup sluice and the dry magnetic separator that I use. I actually bought this a couple of months ago when I first bought the sluice, and I had been saving it for something special. I've already run one batch of this through and was very successful at getting 1 gram of gold out of it, as he promised. Let me see if I got that. Small jar here, you can see. So that was from the original batch that I had. So let's hope we can get at least another gram out of this one. And the plan, of course, is to start with classifying. Now, I kind of remember this needing a dry magnetic separator, but we'll take a look at it when we pour it in here. If that's true, then we'll do the first 2 levels of classification, run it through the dry magnetic separator, and then classify to -10, -20. The -10 will go through the cleanup sluice, the -20 will go through the Desert Fox spiral gold panning machine, the -40 will go through the Blue Bowl, and the -60 will go through the USA Prospector Miller Table. All right, so that's the plan. Let me pour it out for you here. I'm just going to cut the top off. And like I said, I kind of remember this having a good deal of magnetite in it. And I think this is one of those packages. Now, I should tell you that I've spoken to Colter as recently as 2 weeks ago when he had come back from the Coeur d'Alene Gold Show, and he was selling his pay dirt like hotcakes. Actually, you can see it right there. I can see a little tiny bit of gold and maybe some silver there, but I can also see the magnetite right there. If I remember correctly, it's pretty much just chunks up with magnetite. Yep. So I think we're going to run the -10 or the -20 through the dry magnetic separator, just so that we don't have to, because it's fully loaded with that, as you can see. And the dry magnetic separator, of course, helps us remove all that material, and we don't lose the gold that's normally associated with using the magnet, just like I did right there. So, of course, as usual, I had to spill some on the table. All right, here we go. Here's what we're going to do right now. We're going to put all the material through the 10 mesh. The +10, I'll look through and make sure there's no large nuggets in it, and then I will add that to my collection that's going into the Mighty Mill when I receive it at the end of the month, and we're just going to powder that up. Then we'll take that material, put it through the 20 mesh. The 20 mesh, the +20, will go through the cleanup sluice. The -20 will go through the dry magnetic separator before we continue processing it or classifying it, okay? So I'm going to shut up, and we can just watch how this comes out. All right, here's where we're at. So this is the +10 material. I've been through it very carefully to look for nuggets. Haven't seen any. I'm not going to pan it out. I'm going to put that in my container, saving it for when I get the Mighty Mill, and we're just going to run it through the Mighty Mill and power it up. This is the +20. We'll put that through the sluice, And then this is the minus 20 right now. We'll put that through the dry magnetic separator. Now technically that's also the plus 40. And after we finish putting it through the separator and taking all the magnetics out, we'll run it through the 40 mesh and the 60 mesh so that we end up with minus 40, minus 60, minus 40 go to the blue bowl, minus 60 go to the Miller table. Okay, let's set up the dry magnetic separator. All right, here we go. I've already given it 1 teaspoonful to make sure I can use the smaller of the funnels. I may correct that, and if I do, I'll let you guys know that that's what I had to do. But right now, I'm going to be running at about 18 volts, and then I'll be quiet. Okay, as you guys can see, we got a lot of black material out of there, and it's kind of what I expected because that's what we got out the last batch of Idaho Dredge Con. So that'll save us some material not having to go through the sluice. It actually weighs more than the material we're going to put through some sluice. So there's still some black sand in there, but it's probably hematite rather than magnetite. But as you can see, this is the minus 10 material that we will run through the sluice. Okay, but we are going to take that and put it through the 40 mesh and the 60 mesh so that we can get some material for the blue bowl and for the USA Prospector Miller Table. So we don't have a lot to work with to get a gram of gold out of here, and I haven't seen any actually. So we'll see. All right, here we go. This is minus 20 going to the 40 mesh. All right, let me get this all sorted out for you so I can tell you what I'm going to do with it, all right? Here's where we're at. This is the minus 10 material that's going to go through the sluice. This is the minus 20 material, and this is going to go through the spiral. This is the minus 40 material that's going to go through the blue bowl. This is the minus 60 material that's going to go through the Miller table. As you can see, there's not much in minus 40, minus 60, and honestly, not that much in minus 20. Most of the material is here in the minus 10, which is going to go through the sluice, which is probably a safe bet because, after all, it's the sluice that Colter designed. So, all right, let me set up the wash plant and we'll take off. All right, guys, here we go. This is the -10 material going through the mining magnets cleanup sluice. I have added jet dry and I have brushed the bubbles as much as I possibly can. They seem to reappear pretty quickly. This isn't going to take long. We don't have that much material, but I'll be quiet. So right now, what I can see is a couple of small pieces there, a couple of really tiny little pieces here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 good-sized flakes. So let me get a picture of that, and then we'll move on to the blue bowl. I'm sorry, move on to the spiral. All right, here we go, brothers and sisters. This is the -20 material. We're putting it through the spiral gold panning machine. Everything is set to optimum 45 degrees. Water is set normally. Water is flying down here. We'll load it from this side and let it flow to the other side. You'll see that I don't actually have a lot of material here, so it shouldn't take very long. So we got some gold, but we got a whole bunch of heavies to go along with it, so it's going to take me some time to clean it out, but let's take a look at what we have now. Yeah, this is the hematite, so it's non-magnetic, so a magnet's not going to help me here. But a nice little bunch of gold there, very small. All right, let me get a picture of that, then I'll clean it up. And we'll go on to the blue bone. You guys can see it. Let me focus here. So you guys can see I've got a little piece of wire gold in there. Pretty neat. All right, brothers and sisters, so here's what I've got. I've got the blue bowl. I've got the regulated DC power supply set at 5.7 volts. It's drawing 0.53 amps right now. And that gives me about an inch and I'm going to say 3/8 of clearance, which is plenty. You can see the water is going over the volcano. We may adjust a little bit higher once we put the material in, but I'm going to stop it now, put the material in, and then we'll restart. So what we've got here is minus 40. And there isn't very much of it, so I won't be hurt if there's not a lot of gold in it either, but we have to keep trying, right? The last time I did this with Colter's material, I ran everything through the sluice and cleaned up the sluice, and Colter thought that maybe I'd made a couple of mistakes. He actually saw the video, and he thought maybe I had made some mistakes while doing it. But I did end up with 0.95, and then I ran the tailings, and I think I got another, 3/100ths of a gram, so I ended up with 0.98 total. All right, so I'm going to start the power up here, and we're going to go to 6 and see how that does. So let me drag it around for you. We've got quite a bit of powdered gold here all around, but I got a little bit of black sand as well, so I'm going to have to clean that up. Let me get it all on one side of the bowl here so you guys can see it. All right, let me get a shot for you. I think I'll just take a photo rather than... There we go. All right, let me clean that up and we'll go to the final step. That is the Miller table. Then we'll cook it all up and... All right, brothers and sisters, here we go. This is the last part of today's processing. We've got the minus 60 material here. There isn't a lot of it. It's actually very little of it. Oh, I need my spoon here. So it shouldn't take us long. I have the Miller table set up so it's perfectly flat this way and 4 degrees angle of attack, or slope, I guess as Silver Fox advises me. So let's see what we got here. We did get a lot of material out of the minus 40, so let me just stop talking and we'll take a run at it. Here's what we got. There's the spoon for comparison's sake. But it's a nice little pile of gold. I did notice that, like all gold, it sat in the bottom of the bowl, and as I was rinsing out the bowl, the biggest batch came out with that last little squirt that I did with the squirt bottle. So I guess I should have expected that. But I will clean this up and add it to the other stuff, and I'll cook it, and we'll weigh it out. All right, let's cook this stuff up, see what we got. Let's see how we did. Managed to save that wire gold that's in there. 1.045 grams. So it's over 1 gram by 41 hundredths. So promise made, promise kept. Thank you, Colter. I appreciate it. Let's see what it looks like under the microscope. I'll get that set up. All right, let's see what we got here under the microscope. So first thing is there are a couple of pieces of wire in there, but they're not gold. Not sure what they are. I mean, stainless steel, but somehow they got trapped in there. We can see some quartz. Of course, just to my not very good at cleaning, and we can see still some of that. It's not magnetite at this point. It's got to be hematite because I demagnetized everything. It's pretty good looking gold. Let's zoom in a little bit and see what we got. That might be just a bit too far. Let me see. There we go. So, I don't know, that could be a piece of silver there. The black material is either magnetite or hematite. There's a nice little piece of quartz there with gold embedded in it. That's pretty neat. And that looks like another piece of silver there. Right there, a little tiny one. I get that in focus. And then we go up a little bit. And over. Wow. So we've got a nice piece of gold there. And then a piece of hematite. Then a frosted quartz, and then a nice clear quartz, and then up there we've got ourselves a little garnet. You can see how tiny that magnetite is up there in the corner. But I have the slightest idea what those things are. That's as close as I can zoom in. I mean, they're thin. You got to remember, we're looking at, sand-sized gold nuggets here. So those little pieces of wire. I saw the one, didn't catch the second one until I put it under the microscope. But all right, I'm gonna let you guys go. Like I said, I end up looking at this stuff all night because it's so damn fascinating. A little garnet friend there. And some white quartz in her. There's a dirty little piece of gold. Dirty gold. And the one next to it, so the one with black has got hematite embedded in it, and the other one's got quartz, so it's a combination of the quartz and the gold. It's the white one. It's pretty neat to have them one against each other. All right, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week, and next week we will be doing a sample from the San Andres Mountains down in southern New Mexico. Shelley and I were down there for a field trip, a rock hounding field trip, and we found ourselves a little dry wash that came right down from the mountains. So we thought we'd take a sample. So we'll take a look at that. We'll process that next week for you and see if there's any gold, just like my daddy told me. All right? Thanks for watching, guys.